Welcome to the Profit Share Podcast with your hosts, Linda and Press McKissick.
So Gary, the next question I have for you is around actually bringing people into the company. So I would venture to bet that you've had more recruiting meetings than anyone in the industry. Can you teach us what are the biggest lessons you've learned about the best ways, the best practices for actually bringing, helping show someone that KW is the right place to take their life and business to the next level?
Yeah, just remember that, well, every presentation is unique. So mine is mine. But just remember that profit share is not meant to be an active management job. So I just want to remind everyone that the difference between a residual program and a profit share program is profit share has structured management. It has structured leadership. And the point is that profit share was created to be an income source to reward people, to help the company succeed profitably without having to manage. So profit share is true passive income. It's a true passive income. Residual income is active income. You got to work every day for the rest of your life to get the money. And that's kind of the differences.
And Gary, the other thing is you set up profit share in such a way that you can't just decide to flip a switch and change it. It actually has to go through a process with the IALC to make changes.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's the story I just told you back in the 80s. I mean, that was yes, we assigned profit share over to the ALC so that it had integrity. So agents can't change the program. Market centers can't change the program. Regions can't change the program, and Keller Williams can't. Everybody has to agree. And it's gone through, again, it's kind of like forming America, right? There were battles in the early days. We ultimately changed the program, I think, 3 times to get it to where it is today. And each time you had to go back to the ALC. And by the way, they helped shape shift. The proposals didn't come out on the backside the same way. But yeah, we set it up so that there has to be a vote. Otherwise, it can't be changed. That's exactly right. So you asked a question. So how do I help people get in real estate? Or be in business with us? I ask questions. I don't make statements. The truth is that Keller Williams isn't for everybody, and it doesn't try to be. The question is, who are you? What are you trying to accomplish in your life? I use what today we affectionately call the CV process, the career visioning process. And that is, I ask people to go off, 3 to 5 years and describe their what they want their life to be. What do they want their net worth to be? What do they want their job? What are they doing? What do they want their income to be? And then walk me back and help me understand. So I don't know that you recruit people to profit share. I think, the thing about Keller Williams is we have been recognized as the #1 training company in the world, not just real estate. In fact, we won the award so many times they retired us. We are the most active, most edgy training organization in the world. More people, and I say this with real respect for Keller Williams, the industry doesn't even realize how often they quote us, how much we are copied. We've been around a long time. And the difference between us and others that have been around a long time is that we're very creative, we're very innovative, we're very proactive in being relevant in the moment. And so our education, our coaching, our training, all that we do. So I don't really talk about profit share much. Press, to be honest, I recruit people to the culture, the training, the community, the opportunities of who Keller Williams is. And it's kind of I've always described Keller Williams as kind of an adult playground. I mean, it is, it was built for entrepreneurs to thrive, and it functions that way. So that's actually all I do. It's the same way that if you went on any other presentation with someone, you're not trying to convince them to do something. You're trying to help them make a decision. And the only way you can help people to make decisions is to ask questions, not make statements. So if you think you're going to go in and tell someone, here are the 7 reasons you should join KW, that doesn't work. That you have to go meet the person where they are and ask the question, who are you? What are you trying to become? And then let's look over here at Keller Williams and see if how we're operating, how the region is operating, how the market center is operating, if we can meet those needs. That's kind of actually it. And to be honest with you, I really ask agents who are recruiting, ask a ton of questions. And instead of trying to close them to join KW, simply say, listen, I really enjoyed this conversation. Let me ask you a question. Would you be offended if I ask if Press McKissick could give you a call? Do you know Press? No, I don't know Press. Well, you'll love Press. Would you be offended? I'd love for him to meet with you. I think he can also help you answer some of these questions. So I literally pass them off, right? Williams and I used to do that back in the early days. We had an understanding. I would meet with someone, and at the end of it, I would say, if they didn't say, I love this is great, everything I've heard is awesome, I would say, well, have you ever met Joe Williams? They said no. I said, you know what? Let me see if I can find him. I think you'd really enjoy meeting with him. And so my approach has always been, if I can't answer your questions, then I'm going to go find someone else who can. So I don't really believe that we should be asking agents to recruit. I think we should be asking agents to set up appointments for leadership to recruit on their behalf.
So Gary, it's really not that the agent should be recruiting, it's that they should be building relationships, right?
That's it. Here's what I discovered. The reason why all this existed, I didn't say that part of the story, but when I was in sales management, the job was to recruit agents into this brokerage, right, to build a brokerage, get market share, and make profit. What I noticed is that most of the agents I recruited outside of me going to real estate schools came from an agent suggesting that I talk to another agent. So you could literally look up and you could see that there was a family tree. There were anybody who was active in the industry I came into contact with them through the introduction of another agent. So when you think about profit share as a reward for the connections that already are occurring in the marketplace, you get a sense of how easy profit share can actually be.
Wow.
Make the connection. Yeah, go talk to people, build relationships, do what you should be doing anyway, right? As realtors, we forget that one of the things we should be doing is forging a positive win-win relationship with the other real estate agents in the marketplace that are selling real estate. Why? Because we may find ourselves over the lifetime of our career needing a favor or needing respect, right? We may find ourselves competing with another agent on one side of buy side or the sell side. And all of a sudden, if we have that relationship, if they know us, if they trust us, right? I'll tell you a quick story. I had a guy call me when, again, this is back in the 80s when I was still in sales management. He called me and he said, look, he said, we got a problem. And he said, I called the real estate lawyers in Austin because I wanted to sue you. And none of them would. And they all said, just call you and you'd work it out.
Wow.
Yeah. And it turned out, yeah. And true story. It turned out we had sold the house in the wrong school district. The agent, the listing agent, not us, another real estate company, the agent had gotten lazy. When they went in to fill in the MLS data, they just looked down the street to see what school district they were in. They didn't know was this particular street, the dividing line of school districts was actually the middle of the street.
Oh,
so they thought that right? They put the wrong school district in it. People bought the house, moved in, and went to register their son who they moved in the area to be on the swim team. And when the kid went to register for school to then get on the swim team, they said, you can't come to this school. So the guy started calling law firms. So what did we do? I said, look, we'll just make you whole. And he goes, what does that mean? I said, we'll handle this in a way that in the end, it won't cost you any money. Is that fair enough? They said, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, you want to move, right? He said, yeah. Then we're going to put the home right back up for sale. We're going to sell it. And then we're going to settle up, right? If there's any, and we'll help you find a new home. And believe it or not, that's what we did. We ended up making money on the deal. It was really, the agent ended up, right, listed it, sold it immediately. And then the guy came back and said, hey, they're going to have to buy the refrigerator because we bought it to fit this house. We said, no problem. We ended up writing a, $500, $600 check for the refrigerator. The other agent, not us, the other agent, right?
Wow.
And then we turned around, sold the house, and sold them another house and threw all the commissions together. And in the end, there was still enough money for everyone to have made a dime out of the deal. But nobody got sued. I mean, no one got sued and nobody was harmed. Anyway, I just finished telling the story just to remind everyone, this is what we do professionally. This is, even if there's a mistake, there's always a way out. There's always a way out. You see a lot of agents get insulted. You're challenging my integrity, or I'm not going to do that kind of thing. You need to be really careful in this litigious world. The customer's always right. The client's always right. Doesn't mean that they actually are right. It just means that if they believe a wrong has occurred, you're going to have to solve the wrong.
Yeah.
And if you take this position, I didn't do anything, too bad. You have a nice day. You're going to pay for it. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So Gary, one of the things I've heard you talk about recently is if you want to get better at call it building relationships with agents, you should interview an agent a day. And I watch you, I've watched you on a few recruiting conversations that you've had, and it's as if you take pieces that another agent shared with you and you use that when it's appropriate in that conversation. Will you talk about the concept of interviewing an agent in a day and why that might be helpful for anyone inside of KW, either build their business or help them in conversations with agents who are not with us?
Well, all the answers to any question you have about how to be successful or solve a problem is already known by somebody in the marketplace. It always is. And I discovered this back in my 20s. And it actually was, the way I started this was I went to my sales manager, Lynn, and we were trying to create a plan for me my first year in real estate. And she gave me this advice. She said, make a list of everyone that you know. She said, and I'll even give you a list of people I recommend you talk to. And you go talk to them and interview them. And the last question you're going to ask them is, if you were in my shoes, what's the one thing you would do? Right. And anyway, so off I went. Funny story. One of them said, it was a lawyer, and he said, go down and join the junior chamber right now, the JCs right now. He said, my wife and I, both lawyers, we moved to Austin, didn't know anyone, joined the JCs. We built a phenomenal practice all off the basis of that. I went down and joined, and there were two other realtors on the board. I actually went down and joined the board while I joined the JCs. Anyway, I sold I think 3 houses that year, my first year, just from that experience alone. And one of my best friends to this day came from that experience. Anyway, that's where it all started. This idea of interviewing people. And so, so I just kept going. I would take agents to lunch as a salesperson. I'd bring them donut, whatever, right? Anything I could to buy 30 minutes of their time. So tell me about your business. What are you doing? How are you doing it? Think about it this way. When I decided to write The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, we wrote that in 90 days out of my notebook.
Wow.
Now, we did interviews, but we did the interviews to verify my notes. We didn't do the interviews for people to tell us additional information. That book was written out of my spiral notebook. which was just my way of my diary at the time, because of all the interviews, right? So I look up and I say to anybody listening, the number one thing you can do, remember, real estate is a contact sport. And sometimes, though, we get tunnel vision and we think that it's 100% just talking to buyers and sellers. That's not accurate. You should be talking to agents. And oh, by the way, you should be talking to agents across the country. Why? Because of the referral potential. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So if you thought about it again, if you talk to 5 agents a week, right?
It'd make it
20. It'd be 20. It'd be 20. Yeah, it'd be about 200. You'd end up with about 240 people, agents you talk to in a year. You'd be the smartest person in the market. You'd have the best ideas. You'd know all the tricks and the tools. You'd understand all the negotiations ins and outs. You'd know all the best marketing ideas and positioning ideas. Real estate agents are fairly open if you just ask them for us.
Yeah.
I think if you did that, in addition, you did that, you called one agent from a town that you knew that people were moving from to your city at the end of the year, and you had 240 agents that potentially could send you a referral.
Yeah.
It changed your life.
Gary, that's essentially what Linda McKissick did. And that worked out pretty well for her in terms of profit share too. Because those relationships she was later able to cash in on, and those people trusted her enough to get on an airplane to come listen to this guy named Gary Keller, and that helped bring some pretty influential people to the company. Well,
listen to what you just said, and that is she got them to someone else, right? Right? Yes. Yep. In other words, it wasn't just Linda doing the recruiting conversation. Linda was literally getting them to go talk to someone else. Yeah. That's right. That's
all right, Linda, come on out. Gosh, was that not amazing?
Wow, that was so cool. That was awesome. Love it. Worth the whole day. Which, hey, I got some exciting news. You guys are amazing. I stand up here and constantly have chill bumps and just want to cry. You guys in 20 minutes raised $4,300 for South Florida. They are just sending us emojis, thank yous, love. I mean, what an amazing group. So I want to throw out a challenge today. Whatever you guys raise today, and let's go for 10K, a good round number. We're going to match whatever you guys give. We're going to take it right out of our profit share and give it to South Florida, because wow, what a way to show our hearts and our love for our fellow agents who are. Imagine if all of your business was wiped away in an instant, right? And you got to figure out how to get it all back together. We saw a picture on Facebook yesterday of an office who had all their agents sitting out front because they can't get into the office, and it said agent on duty, and they were all sitting there in lawn chairs. I mean, you know what? That's the way to make lemonade out of lemons. But I love you guys, and I thank you so much. In 20 minutes, in such a giving heart, you'll raise $4,300 for our fellow agents in South Florida. So let's keep it coming, and we're going to match whatever you guys raise today. So go big.
So, and as a reminder as well, don't forget, if you want to look for how you can continue to give, or if you didn't get an opportunity to give this morning, in the top of your screen, you should see something that says exhibitor. If you click on that, the very first exhibitor you're going to see is giving to KW South Florida. So if you want to go there, you can find how to donate and different ways that you can give.
And I love Gary's talk was so good. There were so many nuggets in there that one of the ways you and I talk about building profit share is it's either or, not and, because some people don't build their profit share because they think they got to take away from building their business.
Right.
The nugget he just gave you about, and one of the things I'm going to share with you this afternoon in my talk is how I start conversations with people. And one of them is to ask their thoughts and input.
Yep.
And that's exactly what he said. If you just called agents and said, hey, I'd love to have your input. First of all, it's such a compliment for someone to say, hey, what do you think? No, we don't do it enough. And people love to share their thoughts, their input, what they're thinking, what they're, just their knowledge is. And
Yeah.
so asking that more is exactly what Gary's saying. You just pick up the phone and you're going to get referrals. You're going to increase your referrals. You're going to increase your knowledge of how to do your business better. And you're going to build a relationship, which is what I'm going to talk about later today. So, so many great nuggets. And what a great thing for us to hear the backstory of how all the pieces, and he just followed other great leaders who shared.
And you heard him say, he didn't get on and say, oh, the way I bring people to KW is I talk all about KW because we're the biggest, we're the best. You should be with us. No, he said, I ask them questions about them, what's important to them. I find out what it is they want, where they want to go, and who's helping them get there.
Yeah. And also one of the things I want to point out is profit share is, don't go, because hopefully you're real excited this afternoon by the time we get through about profit share, but you don't want to go out and throw up profit share on people because it's like number 7 or 8 reason anybody ever joins us. It's not the reason I joined.
That's right.
And so we don't want to talk about it.
It tends to be a gift you discover when you get here, not one of the reasons you join.
Yeah, so true. So I love it. And then what a leader, giving up his time while he's on vacation to share with everyone and to just hear him come from his heart. About everybody winning, the offices winning, the agents winning.
That's right.
And your family winning from profit share. So I love that.
Awesome.
Great opportunity.